Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're doing a real deep dive into one of modern ufology's most fascinating and, let's be honest, controversial figures, Billy Edward Albert Meier. But here's the twist. We're not going to look at his famous photos. Instead, we're piecing together a character study from two very different places, a handwriting expert's analysis and the very personal words of his closest followers. So let's start with a really interesting question. Can something as personal as your handwriting actually reveal a hidden side of you? Well, the whole idea behind graphology, handwriting analysis, is that it absolutely can. And in the case of Billy Meier, one report points to this fascinating split between his public persona and a private, hidden self. So, what this analyst found was pretty wild. Two completely different handwriting styles. On one side, you've got his official script, precise, controlled, very formal. But then there's this other, private scrawl he calls his pseudo-schrift, which literally means scribble writing. And that was described as spontaneous, vibrant, and totally natural. So who are these two different men living on the same page?
All right, so first up, let's dig into the man who shows up in that official public writing, the script he uses for all his formal work.
The graphologist used this really powerful analogy for this persona. Meier's precision, his ability to focus on the tiniest detail, is compared to that of a Swiss watchmaker. It just paints this incredible picture of meticulous, almost microscopic craftsmanship, doesn't it? So this side of him is really defined by intense focus and control. You can see it right here in this list from the report. We're talking about things like high concentration, sober objectivity, and an iron self-discipline. This is the writer who is methodical, super rational, and driven by what the analyst called a strong, orderly will that pushes him toward perfection. So what's driving this incredibly disciplined persona? Well, the report concludes it all comes down to a profound sense of responsibility. He's described as someone who is willing to make serious personal sacrifices, putting his own ego aside to serve some kind of higher purpose for others. Okay, but then you flip the coin. There's this other handwriting, and the report suggests that behind this formal, controlled exterior, there is a completely different person lurking, one that maybe only his closest friends would ever get to see. And wow, the contrast is just night and day. Where the official script is so restrained, this private scrawl is described as being full of life. It vibrates and trembles, suggesting this natural, uninhibited energy that gives us a peek into what the report calls his true core essence. And the personality traits revealed here, they're a million miles away from that Swiss watchmaker. This list shows great versatility, spontaneity, a real gift for improvisation. This is a creative, deeply empathetic person, described as much more forward-looking, open, and just plain approachable. So what we have here is this picture painted by the handwriting, a disciplined public figure, and this vibrant private man. It really makes you wonder, right? Who is the person that his inner circle actually experiences day in and day out? To get closer to that answer, we're going to switch gears. We're moving on from the handwriting analysis to listen to some deeply personal accounts from people who have known and worked right alongside him for decades. Their view goes way beyond what you can see on a page. Now, to really get where they're coming from, you have to understand the stakes they believe are involved. I mean, look at this number. According to the material provided by his followers, Meier has endured 22 assassination attempts. Now, whether you accept that claim or not, it highlights the intense, high-stakes world his inner circle believes they are living in. You get a totally different vibe from this humanizing story from his son, Atlantis. Apparently, after he tried to sneak a chocolate bar as a kid, his dad didn't get angry at all. Instead, Meier just calmly explains that there was no need to steal, saying he could always just ask. It's a small moment, sure, but it's used to paint a picture of a patient, forgiving, and really fatherly man.
And yeah, when you ask his followers to describe him, the words just pour out. As you can see, they paint this portrait of a man they see as honest, humble, tirelessly helpful. He's wise, loving, courageous. This is the person they see behind all the public controversy.
One thing that comes up again and again in their stories is his unbelievable work ethic. They describe a man with just tireless, creative power, someone who works day and night on his writings, even after a severe health collapse back in 1982 that almost killed him. This absolute devotion is totally central to how they see
Okay, so that brings up the big question, right? What is this work that he's so completely devoted to? To understand the man his followers describe, you have to understand the epic mission they believe frames his entire life.
At the very heart of this mission are the Pleiadian. Now, according to the texts, this isn't the Pleiades star cluster we all know and can see in the sky. No, they're described as humans from a planet called Era, who are technologically and spiritually way more advanced than us here on Earth. And they've supposedly been in contact with Meier since he was a boy. So in this whole cosmic picture, Meier's role is, well, it's huge. He's presented as the prophet of the new era. His specific job is to bring what's called the teaching of the truth, teaching of the spirit, teaching of the life to all of humanity. And this is positioned not as a religion, but as a universal teaching that's based on natural laws.
And when they say prophet, they are not kidding around. This timeline here kind of shows the epic scale of it all. He's presented as the final link in this incredible chain of prophets that they say includes figures like Enoch, Elijah, and Muhammad, all believed to be reincarnations of a spirit form that started with a universal prophet billions of years ago.
And just like that, we're back where we started, full circle. On one hand, you have the disciplined, methodical prophet, the Swiss watchmaker, and on the other, the vibrant, empathetic friend that his inner circle describes. He's a man of profound contrasts, seemingly held together by this unwavering commitment to a truly monumental mission.
So ultimately, after exploring all these different sides of his character, we're left with one final, provocative question. If you just set aside for a moment whether you believe the cosmic claims or not, what is it about this person that inspires such absolute lifelong devotion? What makes people stand by him, even when facing so much controversy and ridicule? That is a question worth pondering.